Okay. So we're currently at Newcastle, stand 4. So currently at Newcastle Airport, stand 4. We're going to go through the startup procedure. We're going to push the plane back, taxi to the runway, and then I'll talk through. Man. Ready, steady. So currently at Newcastle Airport, stand 4. What we're going to do is start the. So currently at Newcastle Airport, stand 4. We are going to start the plane up. I'll talk you through what we're doing on the overhead. Push the plane back, taxi to the runway, take off, try and get above the fog, and then come back round in a big circuit and land back on runway 07. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the left aft fuel pump on and start the APU up. So that's the auxiliary power unit, so that's going to give power when we're on the ground, and also help us to start the main engines up as well. You might be able to hear that's now starting up. In the meantime, I'm just going to quickly program a few things into the flight management computer. The plane has got 6 tons of fuel today, and it's got fuel freeze on, so it won't use any fuel. So the flight management computer which I'm programming in now is just essentially the brains of the plane. So we're just putting in various bits of information about weights and stuff that gives us information back, such as speeds that we need to be going, a few other things. That noise you can hear, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but that's me just changing the trim of the plane for takeoff. APU is now available to be used, so we're going to switch over to using the power of the APU. So I'm going to flick these two here down. I'm going to put on our hydraulics. I'm going to put window heat on, packs are off, APU bleed is now on, so that's going to dry off the APU. I'm going to put our fuel pumps on, fasten seatbelt signs on. Okay, so we're now going to start moving backwards. Now that we're moving backwards, we can now go ahead and start up engine number 1. You can only start one engine at a time, so we're going to start number 1 up first of all. So start switch in and left to JRD. And I can now see and hear that the engine is starting up. Once the N2 gets to around about 25%ish, we're then going to put the fuel cutoff up to idle. So it's currently at 20%, 23, 24, and now we'll put that up to idle. So you should hear the engine starting up. As you can see, it's very foggy, so there's not much to look at outside. In the meantime, I'm going to set our V2 speed on the autopilot speed window here, so 141 is going to go in there, so that's the minimum speed we want to be going to maintain a climb. Heading I'm going to set to the initial runway heading, which is 067. Engine number 1 is now finished starting, so we can now go ahead and start up engine number 2, so same again, in and left, and then 22 on the N2. We're then going to put the fuel cutoff up to idle. Now stop the pushback as well. There's 25% on the N2, so number 2 goes up, and engine number 2 is now going to start up. I'm going to put our probe heats on up here. I'm going to set the pressurization up here to 12,000, landing altitude of 250 feet. Yaw damper on. number one just failed to start. Number two failed to start up there, so we're going to do that again. And now number two starting up. I'm going to set the flaps to 5 for takeoff. Trim is set at 5 units. Auto brake I'm going to set to RTO, that's rejected takeoff. Altitude we'll just go all the way up to 12,000 feet. There we go, number 2 is finished starting, so we're now going to start using engine power. APU goes up to off. Now APU bleed can go off, and we're going to put the packs on, so that's air conditioning. And we're now pretty much set to start taxiing. So taxi light on. About 30% on the thrust there. I'll get one moving. On your screen, what you're looking at there, you'll be able to see on the right hand side there's the top screen that you can see is the map, so that just shows you where we're going. If there's anything to look at on there, I'll certainly tell you. The bottom one is your primary flight display, so that's your horizon basically. You can see the wings in the middle. The left hand side, the 45 there, that's your speed, and the right hand side there is our altitude. So the way that's set at the moment is that's above sea level. About to the end of the runway, so we're going to put the 2 inboard landing lights on. Engine start switches in and 1 click right to continuous. Auto brake is set. We're just going to try and line up with the centre of the runway. I'm not sure whether it looks like you're in the centre just because of where the camera position is. It's slightly off to the right, behind the cockpit. It's about there is the centre. So what we're going to do now is we're going to advance the throttles up to about 40% thrust first of all and get them stable. So I'm going to go 40% here. Everything looks good, so now we're going to go to our takeoff thrust. Toga buttons in. Airspeed is now live. 80 knots. Rotate, so I'm now pulling back to take off, and as you can see the plane is now taking off. Positive climb, landing gears going up. $1,500 feet, so I'm going flaps to 1 and then I'm bugging the up speed. 3,000 feet. Just putting in a little bit of trim just to stop the plane climbing a bit more. So when I'm leaving go of the controls here, the wings are trying to naturally, or should I say the nose is trying to naturally go up. So by adjusting the elevator trim, what we're doing is forcing the nose down slightly so the plane will fly in trim where we want it to be. And flaps up. We got the standard pressure now. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to keep the speed at around about 206. At the moment it's between 204 and 205. So we're going to try and keep it around about there until we get up to 12,000 feet, and then we're going to accelerate up to 250 knots. At the moment we're concentrating on flying straight. As you can see, we've drifted slightly from the right. The dotted white line you'll see on your map screen, that there is the extended centre line of the runway. The triangle at the bottom is us, so you can see we've drifted slightly off to the right. It's not a problem because we're going to be turning right now and anyway. So what we're trying to do is now we're trying to turn towards the dotted pink line. So you can see we're just starting to come out the clouds there as well. So I'm putting a 25 degrees angle of banking on here. Trying to maintain the speed, having to pull back as well because we're losing energy during the turn, so the nose is wanting to drop. Approaching heading 157 now, so we're going to start rolling out in a second. To round about now I'm going to start rolling out of the turn, so I'm turning left to straighten the wings back up. Putting a bit of trim in there. That noise you can hear there is the plane telling us we're getting up now towards 12,000 feet, so I'm going to push the nose down to try and keep us at 12,000 feet. See the speed's increasing, so we're going to go to 250 on the speed now. I'm going to try and keep about 12,000 feet. Just approaching 250, so we're going to come back on the throttle. Because we're doing that, the nose is going to want to now drop, so we'll just put a little bit of back pressure in. So you can see we're staying at 12,000 feet now. Speed's not too far off 250. Take a little bit of throttle out. Heading's fine. There we go. So I'm just going to pop the autopilot on now for a second while I do a few things. So we're going to put landing gear to the off position. Engine start switches to the off position. Flaps are up. Auto brake to off. So I'm just going to now look at the computer to see where we are in relation to the airport. So we're going to start a right turn towards the heading 243, because we're doing a circuit round towards Newcastle. We're now going to put the altitude down at 2,000 feet. So we're going to start a descent down towards 2,000 feet. There's a couple of ways you can do that. If you've got a flight plan in there, you can use VNav, and that'll follow set waypoints at heights you need to be at. We're just doing it manually on here. We don't have a flight plan in there. So we're coming down to 2,000 feet at 1,050 feet per minute at the moment. Just increase that to 1,550. Setting the courses now to the course of the runway we're landing on, which is 067. So just passing 9,000 feet. Now back into some cloud. So speed, we're going to come down to 220 now. We're going to start to slow down. Engines are pretty much at idle, speed's not coming back, so we're going to put some speed brake in there. So that's now going to expedite the deceleration. And now 200 on the speed. So with this landing here, it's a category 3 landing. You're not going to see the runway until the last moment, pretty much. The decision height on this approach is 50 feet. So at 50 feet you need to decide whether you're going to land or whether you're going to go around. So I'm setting that now for a call out for 50 feet. And we're going to go back to local pressure settings to 1013. Speed's coming down now. You can see it's currently at about 206, but it's still dropping, so that'll come all the way down to 200. We can slow down our descent slightly. By doing that, that nose will come up a little bit, in which case the speed will come down quicker, so we're going to put the speed brake away now. On your map, if you have a look on the right hand side, just changing the view there, you can see to the right hand side there, that's the airfield, so we're going to do a loop round to the right. So we're now going to turn right onto our base leg. Just slowing down that descent even more now. And speed, we're going to go down to 180 now, flaps to 1. "14 miles from the runway now." So on the screen where your horizon is, it'll be on the right hand side of your screen there. Above the horizon you can see it says ILS, and then above that it's got DME and then a number. That number there is how many miles to the beacon that we've programmed in. That noise you just heard there is just the aircraft telling me that we're getting down to 2,000 feet now. In a second we're going to make another turn, so just coming around in a nice pattern towards the approach for the runway. And now another right turn. You probably can't even see it turning out of the window, but you will on your map. So I'm now selecting Vorlock on the MCP. That there is going to turn us towards the runway, make the final turn for us. It's going to get in line with the runway. We're going to configure a few things and then we're going to land the plane. Fingers crossed. Laps to 5. So now the plane is making that final turn towards the runway heading. We're going to enable approach mode. That's going to put us on the glide slope. Glide slope's now moving, so we're going to go landing gear down, flaps 15, speed 150. Landing speed according to the computer at flaps 30 here is 143. And we're going to go flaps 30, 143. And landing check. So landing lights on, engine start switches in and one click right, auto brake, put that on, spoilers up to armed. So I'm now going to take over from the autopilot. I have control of the plane now. So on your horizon you might see a pink crosshair on there. That's what we're trying to keep on the wings and the nose of the plane. Also the speed we're trying to keep at 143ish. Obviously we can't look out the window, there's nothing there to look at. Putting a bit of trim in because the nose is just dropping slightly. A little bit of throttle. 1,000 feet. Just getting a little bit low, so I'm putting a bit more trim in. A little bit more throttle. Speed's just getting a little bit low. So we're now 500 feet off the ground. Still can't see anything. So in a second you're going to hear a call out that says minimums. At that point the pilot would decide whether they are happy to land or whether they are going around. Speed's fine, looking good.
300. 200.
It's taking a little bit off the throttle there.
Approaching minimums.
So you're now 100 feet off the ground.
100. 50 minimums. 40, 30, 20, 10.
And there we go. Thrust reversers up. Reverses away. Manual braking now. Missed the turn off, so we're going to have to go all the way around. Start switches off, taxi lights on, auto brake off, flaps to off. Just approaching the end of the runway. I'm going to take a left. Back to 30% thrust. I'm going to start the APU up now. Probeats. I'm going to turn those off. Going a little bit quick, but that's fine. Just approaching the end of this taxiway in a moment, so we'll be making a right turn. Still can't even see the airport. Parking brake on. Over to the power of the APU. Fuel cut-offs. Seatbelt sign off. And there we go.